King of the Hill is such a show. Regardless if you're suburban, urban, far left, far right, pro-propane, or pro-charcoal, everyone has a liking to the show. Perhaps it's the combination of Mike Judge's raw, charming cynicism being balanced out with Greg Daniels' more character-driven nuance. Regardless of writing styles, we have to talk about Hank Hill, the man who laughs at Tony Danza. Hank is a flawed man, but is still a good guy. Some episodes downplay his flaws, some openly showcase them. Hank, however, is always usually the straight man, as there's always an obnoxious opposing force. From angry hams to twig boys, in this series we will look at King of the Hill episodes and decide in a real-life comparison if the straw man has a point or not. Today we're going to look at 2 episodes with 2 different twig boys. The first episode of King of the Hill is a very functional pilot. It's funny and sets the tone of the show very well, but because it's a pilot, it's also very unpolished with the characters. Peggy isn't smug, Bill's not a man-child, and Bobby isn't, gay. Hank in the first season is a fairly different character, and has much more of a gruff appearance with tired eyes and wrinkle-like lines on his face. He feels much older in the first season than any other season. Hank is essentially the angry boomer. His first instinct is always anger. By season 2, it's more likely Hank would scoff and complain, but not cause a scene. So now that we established that Hank is an angrier, meaner character in the first season, let's bring out the pilot's twig boy, Anthony, the social worker. After a series of complaints from neighbors that Hank has an anger problem and a rumor that he gave Bobby a black eye, Anthony is sent to investigate the Hills. Takes notice of Peggy's bruise caused by Bobby by accident, and takes notes of Hank's raving and ranting. Hank then career shames him, which I don't know if Hank would do that in later episodes. Don't get me wrong, Hank still does think his career has more value than other jobs.
We can get propane to the nursing homes by diverting it away from the Museum of Modern Art. If anyone asks, it was a tough choice.
But I don't know if later Hank would be so gung-ho about the job of social workers because they have seen some grim sights. Then again, when you're accused for something you didn't do, you can be a smidge of the fringe. Later episodes would really showcase Hank as a full law-abiding citizen who is very reluctant to criticize the system. A Boy Scout type.
Where's the button to turn myself in?
Not the type of guy who would play guitar with Willie Nelson. Anthony cannot prove Hank is abusive, and he overlooks some things like forgetting to speak to the baseball coach who saw Bobby get hit. The audience is meant to dislike this guy for 2 things. 1 is calling Texans rednecks, and 2 is drinking a latte. Fucking latte, boy, drinking fucking latte. It was a different time. You would think any audience member who finds lattes emasculating would be the type of guy to not see the humor in Dale's stupid climate change denialism. There really is something in the show for everybody. Anyway, Anthony is a very twerp-like guy who failed to do his job in an unbiased manner. This is enough to make the audience want Hank to kick his ass. I will say, despite Twig Boy's twerp-like qualities, in this episode, he was well-meaning if he truly believed Bobby was being abused. Let's think about it. If you got complaints from many townspeople, then go to that house and see the mother and son both have bruises and have a baseball thrown at you, the guy you're investigating would seem sorta sus to you. In a real-world scenario, it's possible for Hank's situation to be real, as many government employees are overzealous to justify their jobs. But given how Twig Boy actually thinks Bobby is abused, even if paranoid, is still enough to say that the real-world comparison of this episode is going to have to side with Twig Boy. Now, in a later episode, Twig Boy does appear again, and we might discuss that episode, perhaps another time. But for now, let's move on to another Twig Boy, Vickers from the episode Snow Job. Honestly, one of the best episodes of the series. It's a season 2 episode, so Hank's character is less gruff and more naive. He is a firm believer in the system and always believes that hard work and respect are automatically rewarded. When he's confronted that this isn't always true, Hank has a crisis. Hank is the believer, while men like Strickland, Dallerton, and Vickers are the sharks of the system. For men like Dallerton and Vickers, it's the extremely unethical business tactics that undermine the philosophy that the system is built on respect. Vickers fails because Vickers is stupid.
They'll drive those trucks just for the life experience!
Dallerton's grotesque success is the curb to the philosophy. In the sense of his pride, Hank is struck by Strickland lying about being pro-propane and yet having an electric stove. The concept of a man not being enthusiastic about the product he is selling truly does shock Hank to his core. Strickland is the opposite of Hank, a very sleazy and morally bankrupt character. For most of the series, Hank does treat Strickland as some sort of father figure.
Mr. Strickland, I love you.
This shows that Hank is naive about the system, that your superior is automatically worthy of your personal respect. Hank really has to ponder that mindset after getting shoved aside for this new city slicker hire. Twig Boy might be a cringy dweeb, but Vickers is a legit bad dude. He raises the prices of propane during the snow season despite Hank's rambling about respect. Vickers gets the pick because he has a business degree, a glorified piece of toilet paper for other sharks to know who's down to put pennies over people. In a real-life comparison, cold calculating tactics by Vickers would make him the superior capitalist. The problem is that Vickers is a dipshit and fires the truckers who had to be certified to drive a propane truck. Buck realized that he fucked up and is desperate to hire Hank back. But it does not move Hank, as he thinks being his own mom-and-pop business owner would restore his faith in the system. It's not until Hank hears the pearls of the people that gets Hank a-going. I don't want to shit on the episode I like, but I don't know if that's legal. I don't think you need to be certified to tow a propane truck, but to sell the propane, I think that might not be allowed. Who cares? My man Hank says ACAB.
Saved your life, Dad.
Jesus fucking Christ, Bobby, you can't do that shit with a propane tank in the back. Wanna watch the whole neighborhood burn, motherfucker? Going back to Vickers, guys like him take away the human element of the system and reduce it to functioning animatronics. We're gonna side with Hank Hill on this one. Thanks for watching the video. Please let me know if you guys would like this to become a series. Peace out.
I'll give room service a jangle and have them send up some etouffee.